and I'm just seeing this judge, put ninjas in the box, or go over there, sit in the box. You sit in the box. You sit in the box. Because when they sit in the box, they they going, they're getting locked up.
Yeah.
Anytime he tell you to go over there and sit in that jury box, you're about to be incarcerated. And
Mm.
so I see a gang of dudes sitting in that box, and I see KDK come and he sent her home
Mm.
with all the stuff she had done.
Yeah, man.
And I'm seeing her walk out of court. She's like, my mom, and the lawyer's telling her, you got to come see me and make this. Well, my mama gonna do it. My mama gonna do it. My mama gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, the side trickster was right. She is the vessel from which evil emanates.
Man.
And she skated while everybody else went to jail. She skated,
Yeah.
you know. And so I'm seeing this stuff play out. All this stuff that's being written about in the journal logs, I'm seeing this play out live right in front of me. And
Mm-hmm.
so as I'm having these experiences and I'm seeing these females, I'm seeing this stuff, it's almost like I got an inside track because I know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of spooky too. But that's what pretty much happened. And then from there, of course, I wound up meeting them later on, and whatever. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was real. I mean, it wasn't fictional. It was real.
Shoot.
You know.
Yeah. I always thought that if I was going to really make this happen as far as adult entertainment, I want to make this character based, man. I don't want to make it just all about the uh, the adult aspect of it, man. I want to make this just like a comic book, man. You know what I mean? Where
Oh,
you
it was
tune
that.
in, yeah, you tune in to see the characters. You're gonna see the antagonists, the protagonists, the supervillains, all of that, man. You know what I mean? And it worked, man, for like 12 years. It was bringing in money, man. Cats was tuning in. But let me ask you this, man. Like when it came to Black Vagina Finder
Uh huh.
and Foul, did you ever try and get in contact with them? Like, what separated me from them? Because they had working blogs where they talked about their experiences as well. So, what made you like get in contact with me?
I think what it was is there was a type of what separated you. Foul was just him banging dirty broads.
Okay,
That was the plot. There was no depth to it. I mean,
okay,
you would see him banging bras in a crack house or an
right,
abandoned house. That was just some ratchet, nasty stuff.
right,
He
right.
banging chicks. He banging dirty chicks on a railroad track. You know that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. You know, it was what it was. Foul, and it
Hmm.
was like okay, the stench came through the camera.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, no. But then what it was, and then of course, BVF Black Vagina Finder, his stuff was good, and he tried to be, political, but I think to a certain extent, I don't think he had the depth, the
Okay.
characters. He did have some characters, he had some women, Golden Tummy,
Yeah.
Puff. He had characters, and it was there. It was story driven, but it just it didn't have the depth. I think what
Okay.
it was the way it was written,
Okay.
and I could identify with the protagonist. I
Okay.
could identify with the protagonist because he was a guy being honest about himself. He
Hmm.
was a guy being honest about himself and showing everything, untainted, unscripted. It was just raw. And then on top of it, he was actually saying, look, I used intellect or intelligence to do all of this,
Yeah.
was what it was. It
Hmm.
was the books. It was the philosophical angle
Hmm.
that really hooked me, that really made Mackcity stand out. It was the philosophy, it was the history, it was the type of, it wasn't a one trick pony,
Right. Right.
because I mean you would be talking about books by Miyamoto Musashi, you would be talking about samurai. All that stuff is stuff that I was into, books
Hmm.
on strategy, books on warfare, things like that. So there was an intellectual depth over here combined with the real aspect of it that they didn't have. You see, and then there were the interviews. It wasn't just, like you said, the adult entertainment aspect, not just the scenes, but you actually had interviews with them where you
Yeah.
talked to them. I remember, and you wasn't ashamed to catch them up either. I
Right.
remember the interview with
DCD.
the moronic, yeah, her, and she was talking about, oh, I have to have this kind of man, and black men don't treat their woman correctly. They
Yeah.
don't do this. Black, and she was just going on, and I think it was called the Inside the Mind of a Hood Chick was what it was called.
Yeah.
And she was just rambling on and on and on about how black men. And he was like, wait a minute, wasn't you just with the dude that just, did X, Y, and Z to you? Wasn't you just with the dude who just cheated on you? And so, and she's like, oh, you trying to get personal. Oh, you trying to get personal. You trying to get personal. And I said, oh my God, she is so simple.
Oh,
She is
man.
so simple. And it was like, I think it was that. It was the
Okay.
way it was done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it was the philosophical angles. There was more intellectual depth and meat. And then, like you said, the characters weren't just the side trickster. It was the females were characters.
Mm-hmm.
The journal logs told the stories, and then there were the interviews to punctuate what was going on. You saw them when they were performing at dance parties. You saw them, you actually saw everything being played out. It wasn't just, oh, I'm riding through Akron and picking up rats and smashing them in the back of a van, so forth. And so it wasn't that. It was that and so much more to it, that was beyond pickup.
Mm-hmm.
It was because you always hear these things in the pickup community. Okay, do this, tighten up your mouth, learn game, learn this, learn game, and all these cues where they sought to try to translate, female desire and communication. Now this was something else. This was something else. You could smell the paint in Northland on the walls.
Mm-hmm.
You saw they fighting, they fighting, they fight. You saw the drama. When
Right.
she got up and put on her clothes and ran out the door. And I'm like, this is like some stuff out of Good Times. And then she came back and got skated on. How you go outside and beat somebody down and then come back and do a sex scene? You know, that kind of depth and that kind of content, you couldn't find that anywhere. You couldn't find that kind of content, that kind of depth anywhere. And then, of course, there was the social commentary. You know, there was the social commentary on politics. There was a political angle. There were articles that would be written. You said, well, look, there's some things I'm conservative about. There's some things I'm progressive about, so forth and so on. So there was a balance there. And it was just a gumbo mix of all different kinds of things. And then there was the adult entertainment aspect. That's what stood out. It was unique for what was going on because it was a kind of street journalism containing adult entertainment and social commentary that you just didn't get in any other site.
Hey, check it, man. Let me tell you something, man. When I first read your when you got on the guest book on the message board and you was leaving your messages and whatnot, man, I was listening or not listening, but I was reading and comprehending, and I was just like, man, this dude is pretty sharp, man. He know what he's talking about, man. And then it had to be you that suggested it because I definitely wasn't in the practice of talking to nobody, but you had to suggest let's swap numbers or whatever. But I just remember I had to have a very high opinion of you to swap numbers because that's just something I didn't do. I'm not really interested in talking to nobody about nothing, especially when it comes to the site. You know what I mean? And so when I was talking to you, I mean, I had a code word for you, man, a code name, the Infiltrator. I was like, this is the Infiltrator, boy. This dude, man, he is like I don't know what it is, but I can't resist. Whenever he talk to me or leave a message or he on the, he called me. It's like I gotta pick up the phone. I gotta talk to him. I'm like, oh, I mean, I would be sitting there like, and then you actually brought up, you know what? Because I was just doing the journal logs, just typing, and you suggested, you know what? You should do what Black Vagina do. You should do a podcast, man. You should do an audio. I was like, yeah, maybe. I don't
Yep.
know. You know what I mean? So that actually came from you. You know what I mean? I think I did that solo for like 2 or 3 years or whatever until uh, it was just a no brainer. I was just like, well, I probably need to get Tony on here, man, because I'd be like listening to what Tony's saying. I'd be more interested in what Tony is saying than what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because I want to listen to somebody educate me and drop some science as well. And and me listening to me, that just don't do it. You know what I mean? I was just like,
Right.
okay. Now remember, there was a big backlash, man, of cats that just they wasn't feeling you at first. It was like, who is this?
Yeah.
And man, like what? Nah, man, we ain't on that, man. We here to listen to you. And I'm like, man, I don't know what y'all listening to, but this is gold right here, man. And I'm like, I got to put my boy on, man. We got to do some collabs or something, man. So I just let you know, boy, you was slick, man. And you know what? There was a couple of times, man. I'm trying to tell you, boy, you thought you was slick, man. Yeah, I would catch you doing the mirror effect. You know what I mean? How you like get around someone and you would like mimic their mannerisms and whatnot.
Yeah.
There was like 2 or 3 times I caught you doing exactly what I was doing. If I was standing a certain way, or if I did my hands a certain way, and you would do it. I was just like, oh, come on, man. You ain't got to do all that, Tony. You ain't got to, you in there, man. You ain't got to mirror nothing. I mean, yeah. You don't remember that? You don't remember you mirroring some of my body movements, man?
I think what I was probably doing was imitating you.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
you was
probably
imitating.
explaining something, but I wasn't mirror. I don't think I was mirror. I think what I was doing was I was showing how I saw you was what it
Uh
was,
huh.
and this is what I saw when I saw you. This is how you came off.
Hmm.
And so what it was is, again, like I'm telling you before, it wasn't a thing of, let's say infiltrating.
Right.
I was actually at the bottom of what you were talking about.
Okay.
And so what it was that everything I was trying wasn't working. And
Mm.
then for the first time, I had a blueprint to get what I wanted,
Okay.
at that period. And that was mind blowing to me.
Okay.
So when you see, it's what they say, when you meet your heroes.
Mm.
And so that's what it became. It's like, okay, this guy has shown, me the way, so to speak.
Hmm.
And so what it was is I was impressed. It wasn't
Okay.
a thing of infiltration. I was impressed because, I spent all this time trying to do all this other stuff,
Hmm.
and it's just like, okay, one guy said, look, stop all of that showmanship and just do it.
Hmm.
And the simplicity of it, the simplicity. And I was amazed because I'm looking at this guy, I'm like, okay, this guy
Tony,
is not
Tony,
the
Tony,
traditional guy.
Tony,
Yeah,
Tony.
yeah,
Hold on 1 second. My grandma
yeah.
needs something. What's wrong,
Oh,
grandma?
okay.
No, I was doing the LG. Did Janelle come by here?
Did who come by?
Janelle.
I don't know.
She got me. I'm getting ready to go to the funeral home.
Oh, okay. Well, if she's supposed to come, just sit in the living room. She'll come pick you up.
But now,
Yeah, because I can't call nobody right now. I'm kind of busy.
oh, we're going.
Okay.
Because I ain't, I ain't too busy.
All right.
So,
All right. Where was we at?
Oh, I was saying that what it was, for the first time, it was something that was working. It
Hmm.
was like you came out It was like you invented lightning. See
Okay.
what I'm saying? That was the effect as
Mm,
far as where I was at the time. You invented lightning.
mm,
So when I was doing those mannerisms, I was playing back, how you came off. It wasn't an infiltration thing. It
mm.
was a thing where I respected what you were doing. I admired what you were doing.
Okay.
So what it was is I was giving you your props. It wasn't on no infiltration shit or nothing like that. It was just look.
Oh
For the
shoot.
first time, it's making sense.
Uh huh.
For the first time, it's making sense. And what that was is I was completing a level of my development. And
Okay.
that's and what I mean by that is, they always have this saying that every dude has a dog stage or what they call a player stage. All those things, that the watershed moments where you learn things about yourself with women and you learn things about yourself through sex and messing around. It's a part of your
Mm-hmm.
evolution. Well, you played a part in that evolution.
Right. Right.
And so what it was okay, I gotta get this. I gotta have this. I gotta learn this.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a situation of seeing the master, learning from the master, and studying the master. That's what it was. Just like when you're in a dojo and your teacher is teaching you how to punch and how to kick. Well, you
Right.
want to punch and kick like your teacher.
I got you. Mm-hmm.
That's what
Shoot.
it was.
Okay.
So if it was imitation, then it should have been the most sincerest form of flattery.
Mm.
That's what
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Let me tell the fellas this. Like when I'm speaking on the mirror effect, people usually do this to build a rapport. Is basically what that's for, to build a rapport. So my thing is, it's like I mean, I'll be joking when I call you the infiltrator, but I mean, you was getting, bruh, you was getting the gold standard, man, when it came to me, right? Because typically, if anybody was gonna like deal with me, they would have to put some skin in the game. That means they would have to get on camera. You know what I
Right.
mean? But when it came to you, you know what I mean? I didn't even put you in that bag, man. I'll be like, nah, man. Mm-mm. You know, I mean, you was telling me about, you was doing lawyer stuff, how involved you was with the law, and I was like, nah, man, mm-mm. Nah, we're not gonna do that to my partner, man. You know what I mean? You became my partner, and I didn't hardly even know you. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
just, it's just crazy how, man, just crazy how. Whatever you did, maybe it wasn't the mirroring, maybe it wasn't none of that, but still, man, we built a strong connection, man, no doubt. I was just like, man, this is my partner right here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, it got to the
Right.
point where, shoot, yeah, you was boy, you was around for everything that went down, man. You know what I mean? You was part of the inner circle, Jack, and wasn't nobody getting in the inner circle, man, unless they got on camera, unless they got down and dirty, man. So yeah, you
Well,
you the
well,
infiltrator.
for me, it was about. Well, for me, it was about studying. Like I said,
Yeah,
I was influenced because I was learning something. I
yeah,
was learning a skill set that was there that I didn't understand.
uh huh,
And so stuff like that is revelatory, man. When your eyes come open,
mm-hmm.
you want more and more and more. So it was like, yo, I got to be down with this. I'm on some brandy shit. I got to be down. I
Right,
got to be down. you
mm.
know. And so, and then of course, when I moved here and I started, actually seeing, you know, the people involved,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was really the thing that put the rocket fuel, in the wings, so to speak. And it was like, okay, this is, this is off the chain. So the more I got here and I started learning more and more and more. So what it was is, as they say, I was soaking up game.
Right,
That's what it was. So you call it infiltrating. I was soaking up game. I was here learning
mm-hmm.
because what I was doing when I was, in Michigan, I was applying and it was working. So I'm saying, well, if I'm applying this stuff and I'm getting it from here and it's working, what would it be like if I got a chance to actually see it real time from the guy that was doing it?
Right,
So that's what it was. But the thing I think with you and me, as far as our relationship was, I mean, honestly, truth be told, We have slight political differences, but really we the same person.
Right. Yeah.
We have slight personality differences, but I think we largely see the world the same because both of us are unconventional people.
Mm-hmm.
We're not people that's going to buy the storyline.
Right.
You know, we always the guys go say, but wait a minute. When there's an assassination attempt, you don't raise your fist.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, we are people that are going to question the narrative.
Man.
That's our personality. We ask questions. We question the narrative. We never blindly follow the status quo.
Mm.
And so I think that's what it was. It was our personalities were largely in link was what it was. But truth be told, man, I was learning. I was getting educated. I was getting educated in how relationships really work in the black community.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting, and I was the crazy part is I would see this but not understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I was seeing all this trauma and this dysfunction because I was seeing this in my family, but not getting it because I was in an environment, so to speak, where I didn't see the horrors. I came up in a two-parent home, and most of that stuff I saw it, but I was shielded from a lot of the collateral damage from it.
Okay.
But when I read it and I saw it, and I got older, and I read it and I saw it in those journal logs, and I started seeing it live on stage
Mm-hmm.
and not on wax. Like I said, I was intrigued. I was intrigued by the evilness of how you got away with a lot of this stuff. You know, I was intrigued. You know, how would this woman let this dude write all over her face
Mm.
and over her body, write these demeaning messages all over her body, and then punctuate it with a load of semen on her nose? You know, I was intrigued by that. I didn't understand. You
Oh.
know, I was intrigued. So you took it that way. That wasn't what it was. I was fascinated,
Uh.
you know, and I'm going to say it. I was fascinated. How is this dude? And
Mm-hmm.
he's sitting up here telling you he's fat. He's sitting up here telling you all these unflattering things about himself. But he doing all of these crazy things
Mm-hmm.
to women. I was shocked by that. I couldn't believe it, you
Mm.
know. And I'm like, it was just, it was real. And so the thing is this is this, oh, I got to have this. I got to figure out what this is and how does this work? It was just, it was enlightening, it was empowering, and it was revelatory.
Well, just
So that's
understand
what
that.
it was.
Yeah, but just understand when I say the infiltrator, I'm saying that in jest. I'm saying that
Oh,
lightheartedly. I'm not
I got
because
you.
if I had any sort of negative aspect, with you so called being an infiltrator, we wouldn't be talking here today because
Right, right,
that would send up red flags to me. I'm like, oh, who is this nigga and who he trying to get next to me and all the whoop whoop de wham, and I never took it that way. You know what I mean? So when I be calling you the infiltrator, you know what I mean? It's just like it's a lighthearted, it's a compliment, just giving you your props
right.
on that. That's all that is, man. But
I got you. But
yeah, man.
like I said, the stuff you was doing, man, it was unreal. It was the stuff I had never seen that before. I
Uh-huh.
had never seen that before. You know,
Shoot.
not from guys that were outside of the mainstream of the dating market.
Uh-huh.
You know, and then when you were talking about the whole thing about tricking, and you know, we come up, it was a bad thing, like I said, to spend money on a chick.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad, but I'm like, well, wait a minute. You taking a woman out for a dinner date, you putting your best foot forward. You coming, you dressing. Well, not necessarily dressing up, but you know what I mean. You
Yeah.
you know your kicks, your attire, your this, that, and the third, and this is going on, and then you got to. I mean, you preparing for a date 8 hours ahead of time and getting hair. I mean, doing all this stuff, and it's like, okay, by the time I counted up, I done spent $200 or $300.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a minute. He went to Kmart and he went to Pizza Hut and he get all this off,
Mm. Shoot.
and so it's like something. Something told me that something is wrong here.
Okay.
Something is wrong And then there was a further thing in those articles. Those articles you wrote were gold, and you were talking about how to communicate with them. And it was different than what the pickup community was talking about. The pickup community was talking about being this uber male or this, that. And you were like, no, you deal with these chicks at their level.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And because I remember I said, okay, I started watching more episodes of Flavor of Love. I started watching more
Mm-hmm.
reality television because that's the trivial shit that they was interested in.
Yeah.
Nigga shit.
Yeah.
I got deeper into the nigga shit. And then
Right.
I could converse with them with shit that they were interested in. And I
Yeah.
started learning about them. The stuff was just very, very common sense.
Mm.
It was practical, and it was if I could use a martial arts analogy,
Mm.
it got rid of the forms and dealt with the applications.
Right.
And so when I said, okay, that's how he's doing this, and you were talking about how to communicate with them through double entendres and so forth. So it was just simple shit. Now somebody will hit us and say, well, yeah, you dealing with hood rats and they need basic stuff. But let me tell you something. I want people to understand because people are desperate. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily stupid either.
Right.
You see, and that was also in one of the essays. He said, look, these females will catch on to what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
He said, and if they catch on, you got to pull the plug and regroup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's someone that would say, oh, they know what you're doing. They're not stupid. They were just doing that to get that. And I'm like, okay, if they were letting me get over, I want to thank them for letting me get over. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But I don't think that they were necessarily implicated. It's just too much going on for them to so-called look into the plot, the so-called deeper plot
Mm-hmm.
of what's going on. I think what it was is it's just like I've been saying all these years. There's a human element to everything. And that was another thing. It was the human, you would connect with them on a human basis. And that
Mm-hmm.
was clear too.
Mm-hmm.
And like the episode, I think her name was Nestle. Nestle,
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
was her name. And she was supposed to go to the prom, and she was like 18 and supposed to go to her prom, and she
Yeah.
tried to run the administration scheme.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, the only thing that means is you're going to be giving up fellatio.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened. And then it was almost as if you could hear what ninjas were going to say about you. Like, shut up, ninjas. It's because of me she can't even go to the prom and whatnot. You see?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Boy.
so it was that type of situation, you know, it was that type of situation that you begin to see, okay, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. He's taking out all of the junk and he's dealing with what's there. And again, the another thing, and from your perspective, my evaluation of you, there was a charisma. You're a very charismatic person.
Yeah, that's funny.
Right. You're very. It's like my wife would say, she thinks you are the most hilarious nigga on YouTube. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
she'll
that's
listen to
funny.
yeah, she'll listen to the way you say things and listen to the way you communicate, and she cracks up behind that. You reduce her to a state of laughter. I mean, she is thoroughly entertained, by
Right.
the way you communicate.
Right.
So
Right.
there's sort of, if you would say, well, the infiltrator, just that's because there's charismatic people attract people.
Okay.
If you have charisma, you attract people. And what brought that charisma out were those audio logs of the journals.
Mm-hmm.
That brought out your personality.
Right.
So a lot of people now that who they compare you to, E40.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, a lot of people compare you to E40. So
Yep.
when people have that charisma, they're going to charismatic people attract people is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hey, check this out, man. Let me because I've experienced this from time to time. Since me and you've been doing the podcast and stuff, man, and yeah, I can just tell that most brothers are used to dealing with busters and lames, man, because it's been a couple of times where I have been doing the show and I'm not able to necessarily get in contact with you because you're doing something and you're busy, you got things going on and whatnot. And then,
Right.
some dudes be like, "Oh man, you need to get Tony back, man, because he the star of the show and he be doing this and he
Oh
be doing that." And I be thinking to myself, is this lame Negro really trying to drive a wedge between me and my partner by stoking some sort of jealousy or whatever? Man, I've told many a brother, man, you know what I mean, through email or through the phone or whatever, man, when it comes to me and you, I like, look, if Tony is the one that everybody wants to listen to, I'm cool with that because I want to listen to Tony. Tony has a much better delivery, and when it comes to